What is going on, everyone? Welcome to WreckTalk. We previewed the Notre Dame Georgia Tech game earlier today, and we had such good interaction with the power rankings video. I thought we'd start picking the spread on the ACC games from week to week. We'll do it going out the second half of the season. Now, again, if you know anything about me, I despise gambling. I think it's fun just to see, how you pick against Vegas, how much you know about football, yada yada yada. And I'm so against gambling. We're gonna do something kind of cool here. I've got a coin. All right, so it's probably not gonna focus, but we got heads and tails on a quarter here, and I'm gonna pick against the spread. I'm gonna let the coin pick against the spread, and because I'm a Tech fan and I know math pretty well, I don't think any of you across the second half of the season are going to pick the spread any better than a coin flip. Now, there is a Thursday night game that plays tonight, 7:30, Boston College, Virginia Tech. You can send your picks in to rectalk@gmail.com. We're going to pick the spread. We'll pick the over-under. Send your picks to rectalk@gmail.com. If you do better than a coin flip, beating me is nothing. If you do better than a coin flip, I'll give you a shout out in next week's video. If you can beat a coin flip for the rest of the season collectively amongst all your picks, now you're going to have to pick. I'll say you have to pick every Saturday game. We'll put you in the Rec Talk Hall of Fame. You'll get a big shout out and a bow from me. Math is heavily not on your side for that, though. So let's get right into it. First game tonight, Thursday night game in Blacksburg. Boston College goes on the road to Virginia Tech. Boston College, maybe not as good as we thought previously in the season. Part of that's because Florida State's not near as good as we thought they were. Virginia Tech looked like a trash team, looked much better in the past 2 weeks. Now they're sitting at 500. Boston College at 4-2. However, a night environment in Blacksburg is tough. Boston College struggling a little bit, even having Castanella's back. I know I always mispronounce his name. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. We're just going to call him Smith and move on because that's simpler. Tickets as low as $9 for this game. Wow. Now, 7.5 point spread on this game for Virginia Tech. Over-under is 48.5. Me personally, I don't think Boston College has much of a chance in this game. Tootin is a good running back. Aside from having a hilarious name, that's Tootin is a good running back. Ran all over Miami's defense. He's got 9 touchdowns. Drones has looked much better, though he is, 2-1 on his touchdown interception ratio. I just don't see Boston College going and getting a win on the road at Virginia Tech. And I think Virginia Tech covers this game. So I've got a little Excel sheet here. So I'm picking Virginia Tech to cover. Let's see what the old coin says here. The coin says, I guess I got to decide before I flip it. We'll always go with heads being the favorite covering. So heads will be the favorite covering. So me and the coin agree. Now on the over-under, I'm going to go over. I think Virginia Tech scores a lot of points in this game. I think they play the best game of the season. They seem to have gotten better every week to me since they got embarrassed by Vanderbilt earlier in the season. But, golly, can we say it? I mean, when you go on the road, or they were in Nashville, anywhere you beat Alabama is Vanderbilt, you're doing good. Vanderbilt's over-under win total for the SEC was half a game. They're already at 2. They beat Kentucky too. Vandy's a pretty good team. Kind of a good loss for Virginia Tech, but I'll take the over in this game. We'll say heads is picking the over, tails is picking the under. The coin will pick the under. So I've got Virginia Tech covering, and I'm taking the over. The coin has Virginia Tech covering and taking the under. Friday night, I think we have games like every night, college football games for like the next 30 days. Very interesting on ESPN2. Man, Florida State's down, way down when they're playing on ESPN2 on a Friday night. Wow. They go on the road to Duke. So they go to Durham. Duke, I think they were on a bye last week before they got beat by my Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. I get that they were undefeated coming into that game. They really hadn't played. Like, Georgia Tech was the best team they had played up to that point, and that is shade against North Carolina. And then they let Georgia Tech cover a 2-touchdown spread on them. Let me just tell you this. If you're one of these guys that just loves to speed run financial ruin and must bet on sports because you're just jonesing for it, you just got too much money in your pocket, I would stay the absolute hell away from betting Florida State at Duke. I would actually, as bad as Florida State, as down as they are, they do have a new quarterback that's playing well in Brock Glenn. I think he's injected a little bit of new life into that team, though not a lot. Florida State has a lot of problems. Not only do I think Duke doesn't cover the 3 points, I actually think Florida State wins this game outright. So give me Florida State on the money line. However, I don't think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. I mean, was it like 17-9 or something, or whatever it was when Florida State played Cal? Definitely taking the under here. Let's see what the coin thinks. Again, heads is the favorite covering. It will take Florida State and the 3 points as well. Heads is the over. It will take the under as well. So the coin takes the under. Might need to flip it a little higher. Moving on, Miami going on the road at Louisville. Interesting, Miami, probably the most talented roster in the ACC. Louisville, also a decent team, though. Interesting to see a 4.5-point spread. I would probably put this at a 7.5-point spread for Miami. It is on the road. The over-under 61.5. How is this a noon game? You would think this would be the primetime ACC matchup. Now, the primetime ACC matchup is actually ACC matchup is SMU at Stanford. I have no idea why you wouldn't have Miami, Louisville, with Louisville, going to the ACC championship last year, not in that 8 o'clock time slot. But whatever. Let's type about the conspiracies for Miami. Boy, they've gotten lucky the past 2 weeks. 4.5-point spread, though. I think this is an absolutely dangerous game for Miami. This is the point in the season where Miami likes to implode, kind of like North Carolina does. Miami's going to have to go win in this game and prove that, they don't kind of start the Miamiing and then the we're back is down. Now, obviously, they could lose this game and still probably easily make it into maybe not easily, but they can still make an ACC championship run. If Louisville loses this game, though, what do they have? 2 ACC losses? They don't. They only have 1. But they'll have 2 ACC losses if they lose this one. That probably shuts the door, although not super firmly, on Louisville going to another ACC championship. I'm not at all comfortable with this. If I tell you what, I'm going to do it. I've kind of been hard on Louisville. I do think Louisville bounces back. They have a very good wide receiver that would probably start for anyone in the country. The number one, I forget his name. Is it? They don't have him listed here. I get that Miami's talented. I kind of think this game's all wrong for Miami, though. Give me Louisville in the upset here, actually. So I'll definitely take Louisville in all 4 of the points in this game. Now, 61.5 points is a lot, though. I do think if I'm picking Louisville in the upset, it is going to come in a shootout. So I think I have to take the over there. Let's see what the almighty coin thinks. So heads is the favorite. It's going to take Miami. That's going to take Miami to cover. And heads is the over. It's going to take the under. It's going to have Miami cover on the under. Again, if you want to send your picks in and possibly get a shout out from your boy Rec, email wrecktalk@gmail.com. All right, Virginia going on the road at Clemson. Now, I don't think anyone had Virginia at 4-2 up to this point in the season. They've played much better than probably most people have. I think, look, I had Tony Elliott on the hot seat. Seems like he's been on the hot seat for 2 years now. Interesting thing is, He was at Clemson for a long time as their OC on the opposite side of Venables. That's now at Oklahoma. Big line to cover for Clemson here, 21.5 points with the over-under at 57.5. I'm sold on Clemson, though, right now. In fact, at the moment, I got Clemson beating Miami, and I think Clemson wins, and I think they cover 21.5 points. Clemson has gotten better every week. They've really played one bad half of football, and that was against, at the time, number 1 ranked Georgia. I don't see Virginia really having much of a chance on the road at Clemson. Give me Clemson to cover, and give me the over 57.5. I think Clemson scores as many points as they like. Let's see what the almighty coin thinks. Ooh, it's got Clemson not covering. It's going to take Virginia in all 21.5 points, and it is going to take the over. Interesting pick there, coin. All right, next. Now, this is tough. C-Dog, my counterpart here on YouTube that does Georgia Tech football, he's great. Go subscribe to C-Dog if you're not already. I'm not on the ACC show at Pigskin Pete's channel. Pigskin Pete's a Clemson YouTuber. Definitely go check him out. Give him a subscribe every Tuesday night. I think it's 7. Sometimes I'll be on there, but every week it's Pigskin Pete and C-Dog. We were joking around because we were picking not the spread, just picking outright winners. And I said, I don't even know who's favored in this game. I don't like is Yukon might be favored. Turns out they are. They're a 1.5 point favorite over Wake. Wake has been kind of awful this year. Now, I do think they beat NC State last week. No, they lost to Clemson last week, but the week before they beat NC State. And then their only other good, well, not good win, but their only other win is against North Carolina A&T. Wow. I don't know much about either one of these teams this year. So I guess kind of by default, I got to take Yukon. Now, I don't know anything about Yukon's offense or really either offense or defense. I haven't watched. The only bit of Wake I've watched this year is when they played Virginia. And because I'm not confident in either team, I think I got to take the under. So I'm going to take Yukon to cover the 1.5 under 56.5 points. See what the coin says. The coin will take Yukon as well. And the coin, what do you got us on the over-under, coin? It's got the under. So me and the coin are taking Yukon in the under. Now, I previewed this game earlier, 3:30 at the Bend. So this game is not played at Bobby Dodd. It is played in Atlanta. I kind of said everything I have to say in that video, but just to recap, questionable if Haynes King is going to start in this game. Georgia Tech does have a very capable backup in Zach Pyron that actually started in Brent Key's interim year. However, Notre Dame has an absolutely elite defense, especially pass defense, and that makes up for any woes they might have having offensively. Since losing the NIU, they're on a tear, outscoring their opponents about 100 points since that NIU loss. Georgia Tech has a ton of problems on special teams. They're inconsistent, and they have a horrible pass defense. And as much as it pains me, I just don't see Georgia Tech being super competitive in this game if nothing changes as far as fixing the issue. So give me Notre Dame in the 11.5 points. And give me the over. I think Notre Dame's offense and Riley Leonard have a career day against a struggling Georgia Tech pass defense and a very good Notre Dame defense. Let's see what the coin has to say about it. Let's see where it dropped. It is also going to take Notre Dame. Does it take over 49.5, though? It does. It takes the over. All right. Next game. Second game of the 3:30 games. This is going to be on ACC Network. Notre Dame, Georgia Tech on ESPN. Just an awful NC State team, and a California team that had a 25-point lead over Miami. Now, this game's played in California. It's going to be a 3 time zone time difference for NC State. though it is played at 3:30, so that I guess that mitigates some of the jet lag. But I'm sure they went over. They'll go over Friday or maybe even Thursday. Cal a 10-point favorite against NC State. Did anyone preseason have Cal being a 10-point favorite against many teams? No, especially not NC State. They were kind of the dark horse, one of the dark horses to win the ACC preseason. They've struggled mightily. Kind of a lower under at 46.5. I haven't seen anything out of NC State to give me any confidence in them, especially playing on the road all the way across country. When you lose to Wake, you're definitely down bad. And shout out to Pigskin Pete. He absolutely hates NC State. Give me Cal, all 10 points, but Cal's offense is both these offenses are pretty bad. I got to take the under. So I'm going to take Cal, the 10 points, and the under. What say you, George Washington? It is going to take Cal, or not Cal. Yeah, it's going to take NC State. Tail, as we said, was the opposite side. The coin takes NC State, so it doesn't think Cal is going to cover 10 points. Does it take the over or under? It takes the over. So I got Cal and the under. The coin has NC State and the over. All right, last game, very head-scratching that the primetime ACC network matchup is SMU on the road at Stanford. Not as big of a time difference for SMU going to Cal as one of the East Coast teams. Now, look, SMU, a team that I was wrong about up to this point. They struggled with Nevada, probably should have got beaten by Nevada earlier in the season, but have really come into their own. Their only loss to BYU. BYU probably could be the best team in the Big 12. And SMU 2-0 in the ACC as well. This is another game. So here's the games I'd stay away if you just must bet for some stupid reason. Stay away from FSU Duke, stay away from Notre Dame Georgia Tech, and stay the hell away from SMU Stanford. I actually think, and I'm going to get murdered by SMU fans, I think Stanford wins this game outright. I know they haven't looked particularly well lately. Let's go look at their schedule here. So they lost to Virginia Tech pretty bad. Man, Notre Dame jerked a knot on their head. And then 40-14 against Clemson. Man, can I pick them to beat SMU? I don't know if I can pick them to beat them outright. I just don't think SMU covers 16.5 against them. Give me that and give me under 53.5. I don't really have a good reason. Man. Is under 53.5. I'm sticking with it. Give me Stanford under 53.5. I think this is a dangerous game for SMU. Stanford's not the worst team out there. I do think Stanford has the ability to win some games. I do think they're going to shock someone this season, and I tend to think it could be SMU. Though I'm not gonna outright pick them. The only outright upset I'm going to pick is Louisville. Louisville hosting Miami. Let's see what the coin thinks. Do you think SMU covers 16.5? It doesn't. It's going to go with Wreck and take Stanford. Do you think this game is over 53.5? It doesn't. It's going to take the under as well. So, all right, let me just review real quick. I have got Virginia Tech covering the spread and over. Actually, let me just do it this way. Let me just snip this out of here. You don't want to hear me just read everything I just did. That's boring. What are you doing? No one cares about that. Here we go. There's my picks. You can screenshot that. Again, if you want to see if you can do better than Rec, or for the second half of the season, you have to pick at least every Saturday SEC game. Can you pick better than Rec or a coin flip? If you can't pick better than a coin flip, you probably should hang up sports betting, period. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Y'all have a good one.